So, in your recent article about how Seat 11A survived, you have written when the cabin fails, it's physics, but when the seatbelt kills, it's design failure. Can you please tell us more about this?
So this started with my travel on a train. So you would have noticed on high-speed trains there are no seat belts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so used to flying that whenever I sit, even if I'm sitting on a sofa, I feel uncomfortable. I
Mm-hmm.
start feeling for my seat belt.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering why there are no seat belts on the trains. So I did some study. So I found out that seat belt on trains would cause more damage in case of an accident
Mm-hmm.
to the body, the internal organs, the spine. Uh, so they rather not put the seat belts than put the seat belts, because on aircrafts we have two pointer seat belts which are around the waist. So in case of a sudden accident or the aircraft stops, your forward upper body is flung forward, your legs are flung forward, and the whole body is kind of held back from the waist by the two point seats. So that crushes your bones, the hip bones, the internal organs, and the spine. So that will cause more damage as compared to a person without a seat belt. So this particular person on 11 Alpha was sitting on the emergency exit. So there was about 6 feet of space in front of him, clear. Either he was not wearing a seat belt or the seat belt failed. That is also a possibility, which happens in accidents because of the sudden jerk, the G force. And if you notice, he has injuries only on one side of the face.
Mm-hmm.
So he must have gone sideways and hit the front wall or something. And had he been wearing a seat belt, obviously he would have had fractures on his hip. He would have been immobile. And if you see the visuals, he was walking normally
Okay.
with a slight limp because one side was affected. Uh, the the studies corroborate with this theory, and the new designs which the Air India 350s have in the business class, the 3 point seat belts, which have been there on the cars since 1970s. So that is a scientific fact that if your upper body is restrained, the likelihood of injury is less.
Less.
And these 2 point seat belts are basically meant for turbulence when the aircraft goes up and down to hold you down so that your head doesn't hit the ceiling or your neck doesn't get injured. So that is the primary purpose, and not primarily for takeoff and landing. So our whole focus is before takeoff and landing, we have to ensure the seat belts are on. But during turbulence, we are not very particular. And in the last Indigo incident, wherein the aircraft entered a thunderstorm, there were no injuries because they had prepared the cabin and everybody was wearing a seatbelt. And most of the injuries on board happen during turbulence where people are not wearing seatbelts and they hit the ceiling.
Right.
So the 3 point seatbelt should be made as a standard. That is one aspect of survivability of an accident. So a part of the report deals with the survivability because even if an accident happens, we have to ensure that there is minimal loss of life. ICAO's objective is by 2030 there has to be zero fatalities. So unless we incorporate such things, new design issues, we will not be able to achieve. So this is something which is an eye opener, or people know about it, but it is not being passed to the masses. It is only restricted to some business class seats.